A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to News in 30 right here on Hstv with me, Savara Aiden. We bring to you some local and international news stories right here on News in 30. We're streaming live on our YouTube platform at Hstv Live GH. You're well to like, comment and share. Now on to the headlines making bulletin this afternoon. Former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loans Center, Maslok Sedina Tamaklo, has been sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labor. The National Petroleum Authority has begun implementation of the price floor for the downstream petroleum sector after outlining the amended petroleum pricing guidelines. Also, the Ashanti Kingdom is expected to display 35 pieces of looted artifacts in the coming days after they were presented to the Michelle Palace by the Victoria and Albert Museum and the British Museum. In another story, the Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association on Tuesday, April 16th, protested over the non-payment of the allowances for the past 10 months. Now, news and details. Now, in the lead up to the highly anticipated 2024 general elections, the National Peace Council has issued a stern warning against the proliferation of hate speech, with tensions running high and political diversions deepening. The council emphasized the importance of maintaining civility and respect in political discourse. In a statement released today, they urged all political parties and candidates to prioritize unity and understanding rather than resorting to inflammatory languages that could incite violence and further divide the nation.
Every minister of the gospel will understand that we have a responsibility to protect the peace, stability, and unity of our country. That whatever we do in this country, we must ensure that we maintain the peace, the stability, and the cohesion of our country. If 72% of us are Christians, then I expect that a lot of these people will be in the churches. And therefore, pastors have a responsibility through their pulpits to educate church members. Let's avoid insults. Let's avoid cutting down people. Let's avoid those things that, as it were, reduce people to nothing. And ensure that at the end of all this election, Ghana will be peaceful and will be intact. We also appeal to the general public that elections will come and go. Wherever there is competition, people will agitate. But in the midst of our competition, let us understand that we must protect the peace and the stability of this country. So be careful what you say, be careful how you say it, and be careful the environment within which those things are said.
Ministers of God must stay disciplined. And that should be translated into the lives of our flock, the church members. When the minister themselves are disciplined, that must be expressed in the life of the church members. And so our bid is to teach our members to be disciplined. Discipline in all respects. Discipline, especially when the election is drawing closer. We should engage our members to stay disciplined and not to do things that will harm the unity of our country. You know, with the church and with Christians in general, the issue of LGBT and others is a very crucial thing to us. Not because we loved it, it's because we hate it. I mean, we don't want that. We are praying that this bill be signed. And that is all. We want this bill signed.
This year is a very, very important year. This year is an election year, a very, very important time in our country. And I think that pastors, men of God, politicians and everybody, we must conduct ourselves in a way to save the country and not to break the country. Ghana is the land of our birth. We don't have any other country. We are surrounded by countries who have been involved in coup d'etats and all those things. But God in heaven has preserved our country. My message to my fellow politicians and other leaders in this country, and also you with the media, because the country, you carry the country, is that we should give peace a chance. Whenever we are campaigning, we should think more about Ghana winning and not our political parties winning, because it is in Ghana's win that we will also win as a nation.
Those were some members of the National Peace Council advocating for peace ahead of the 2024 general elections. Moving on to another story for today. Now, Edward Bow, the Member of Parliament for Bongo, has detailed the measures implemented by the National Democratic Congress government to address the recurring power outages, popularly referred to as Dumso. The Mahama administration faced significant criticisms when Ghanaians expressed a power crisis during his tenure. Some NDC leaders, however, have claimed that they resolved Dumso before their term ended. Edward Bauer stated that the Mahama government resolved all the initial problems causing the power outages. Now, in some other story, former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslock Sedina Temaklo, has been sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labor. The former Chief Operating Officer of Maslock, Daniel Xim, has been handed a 5-year jail term with hard labor as well. The two were found guilty on 78 counts relating to causing financial loss to the state, theft, conspiracy to steal, money laundering, and public procurement laws, including misappropriating over 1.7 million Ghana cedis allocated for sanitation exercise, with only a fraction of the funds used for the intended purpose. Similarly, funds disbursed for victims of fire incidents at Kantamanso were not fully distributed, with a significant portion misappropriated by the accused.
This one is a form of advice and caution to all public office holders that when it comes to monetary matters, you must be very, very careful. You may want to say you receive only 20,000 Ghana cedis as a gift. Were you supposed to receive that money? What was that money meant for? Were you the one who issued the vouchers, as the court said? So this judgment, I recommend that those of us in public office must procure copies and then read, so that we know our responsibilities. Because today you may think that you've not been caught. When you are caught, definitely the law will deal with you as you've had it today. 10 years is reasonable in the circumstance. I'm not going to quarrel about it for now, but we'll take the full judgment and read. But 10 years is something that's reasonable in the circumstance. But if need be that there's a need for an enhancement, why not? But at the moment, from what we've listened to and what we've learned from the judgment, 10 years is reasonable. And the other accused person also had 5 years cumulatively. So let's see what happens. We are going to follow it up. Any property that the first accused person has within the jurisdiction or outside the jurisdiction, if you get hold of it, we are going to pursue that property and get the money for the state. What is refreshing is that it should be brought down to face the sentence. No problem at all. We've started the process, and with this judgment, that's going to speed up the process. And you know, Ghana, we have various laws. You can choose to stay away. But so far as you have laws relating to how you can extradite from one country to Ghana, in case there's a judgment against like this one, rest assured that should be brought down to face justice. I may not throw us so much for you, but we have the MLA, Mutual Legal Assistance, US, we have that treaty with them. So very soon, you hear about the results. So just rest assured and keep monitoring the space. I think the state attorneys are here. In the course of the trial, they made it known to the court that the issue of extradition may be tackled. But the preoccupation was to make sure the matter proceeded to finality. And today, we've come to that stage. And so we're going to take that next step. When it comes to extradition, sometimes you start and you have some kind of problems, blocks. The person may choose to appeal and all manner of things, but this is the situation where we have final judgment. It's not as if you are being brought here to be tried, where you can raise all the defense out there.
And that was the final judgment for the former Maslock boss and CEO. Now, moving on to another story, the National Service Personnel Association is advocating for a shift in mindset among employers regarding the National Service Scheme policy. They are urging employers to trust and empower service personnel, recognizing their potential and value in the workplace by encouraging a culture of support and development for service personnel, the NSPA aims to enhance their skills and capabilities, ultimately benefiting both the individuals and the organizations they serve. This call for trust and empowerment highlights the importance of investing into the future workforce of the nation.
The National Service Scheme has operated for years without any formal policy guidelines. This policy document represents a paradigm shift, providing direction for the scheme's delivery and aligning it with government agenda to ensure that service personnel are adequately prepared for the transition from school into the workforce. It is disheartening to hear reports that service personnel are often underutilized, with many relegated to peripheral tasks or left idle in offices and institutions. Government investment in the National Service Scheme is significant, and we expect a return on that investment. Therefore, measures will be put in place to regulate deployment processes and reinforce learning opportunities during national service. The policy will operate in a manner that provides training, mentoring, and coaching for prospective and transitioning national service personnel, bridging the gap between theory learned in school and the practical demands of the workforce. Government is committed to allocating sufficient annual budgetary resources for the successful implementation of this policy. Over the last 7 years, I have endeavored to build the human capital of our country through initiatives such as the free SHS and free TVET programs and various other interventions. My government recognizes the immense potential, creativity, and innovation of Ghanaian youth, and we are committed to providing them with opportunities to realize their dreams through initiatives such as the Youth in Agriculture, the Youth Start Program, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, and support for enterprises of young entrepreneurs by the Ghana Enterprises Agency.
I must assure you that the policy will be followed immediately with a comprehensive implementation plan. It is my passionate appeal to stakeholders to support this next crucial step. Our resource mobilization and deployment was strictly synchronized with the strategies outlined in the policy. To ensure policy coherence, value for money, and determination of sources, the policy will be subjected to diligent review. All programs, projects, and activities of the scheme will be aligned at the various policy strategies, monitored and evaluated on a regular basis. In this regard, I wish to make a passionate appeal to Mr. President that the Ghana National Service Authority Bill 2024, currently before Mr. President, will be approved, and the relevant steps urgently evoked to pass the bill into law.
In another story, the National Petroleum Authority has begun implementation of the price floor for the downstream petroleum sector after outlining the amended petroleum pricing guidelines. The policy led for petroleum and conventional energy with the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Kojo Yauche, has clarified that the regulator is not responsible for cost management, but rather ensuring that there are no shortages. Products on the market should be of high quality and to help sanction OMCs who bring in substandard products because they are very cheap.
The point we are making is that cost management is not a responsibility of the regulator. What the regulator should be interested in is, one, that the product is available, that we don't have shortages where people will go and be queuing for petroleum product. Two, the products that come into the market should be of high quality, should pass all the quality standards, that you don't damage people's cars and all of it. And then the third one that the regulator should be concerned about is those anti-competitive behavior, right? Where people bring in substandard products and because it's cheaper, they undercut. You should zone in on those particular OMCs, right, and deal with them and sanction them because you have the power to do that, not a blanket and wholesale price determination for the market. It's an iterative process. We'll continue monitoring it. If the fears that we had are not materialized, we'll give it a more longer time to see.
So far, the window just started today, and we are now monitoring. We've received the prices from the companies for this window. The price that we received from the companies already, we published the price floor on the 12th of April for them to know what the price floor for this window will be. So far, we haven't seen any company selling below the price floor yet. But it's very early days also in the enforcement of this regulation. So we'll continue to monitor and then see whether they are complying or not. The guidelines comes with sanctions. So there are sanctions that are penalties in terms of monetary penalties, and there could be other penalties we can impose. So, for example, the first time, the penalties that we have, we caution you, and if you still continue to do that as an OMC, or stations are still doing that, because the OMC is supposed to ensure that its stations are compliant. So we see that your stations are still not compliant, then there is a monetary penalty. There could be other sanctions that MPA could apply, because if the station is consistently not complying with guidelines, as a regulator, we have every power to ensure that they are brought into line.
On a developing story, the Ashanti Kingdom is expected to display 35 pieces of looted artifacts in the coming days after they were presented to the Menchel Palace by the Victoria and Albert Museum and the British Museum. This comes after officials from the Fuller Museum in Los Angeles handed over the first batch of looted artifacts taken by the British in 150 years ago during the Sagranti War. The Victoria and Albert and British Museum have, among others, also returned artifacts such as a gold peace pipe, a sword of state, and gold badges worn by officials charged with cleansing the soul of the king. The return of the items comes ahead of the celebration marking the silver jubilee of the Asantehene Otumfuo Tutu II.
Every piece of art that you see among Africans in general, and Ashantis in particular, is of great significance. It speaks volumes. It's of physical, spiritual, and moral significance. These are our own artifacts, which were forcefully taken away. So if they are being brought back, we have to jubilate because it's ours. Again, is of great spiritual significance. What you are seeing, apart from what you see, the artworks that could be copied by modern arts, modern craftsmen, it also, each piece has spiritual significance. So it's of great importance to it, physically, spiritually, mentally, because we study it in school. In school, all studies that will take place about mental exercise. So physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, they are of great significance. Well, so long as negotiations are going on, and so long as they have, they themselves are feeling guilty of what they did, it stands that they can agree to bring it for good.
So far, what I've seen is incredible. I mean, for us to have something like this here in Ashanti region or in Ashanti Mine as its whole, is something that will boost a lot of the culture and economic-wise. It will be something that we will stand on and to promote the culture and whatever our King Hstv II has in store for us. this here can actually be part of any type of touristic site that, you know, when foreigners come to Accra, they will maybe want to come and also visit here. It's not just about maybe the museum that we already have that is already generating, you know, some money on the side, but this place is actually going to be something more for the community at large.
On this very note, let's go for some sports updates. When we come back, we have more for you right here on Hstv 30. Do stay with us.
Would you like to own a home, start a business, provide seed money, or a good education for your children? The Pro Wealth Plan answers all of life's questions. This is Ekwa 9. She wants to be an engineer in future. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hammond, plan to give her the best education but don't want to be unnecessarily burdened when she's ready for university in 10 years. Do you know how much it will cost Ekwa to go to a local private university or university abroad in the next 10 years? Ekwa's parents have signed up to a Pro Wealth Plan. They pay affordable monthly premiums that ensures they are able to fund Ekwa's university fees and living expenses. When she's ready for university, Prudential will pay the maturity benefit and her parents can enjoy free insurance cover for an additional 5 years. In the unfortunate event that her parents pass away, Prudential will pay over 200% of the sum assured, which is 100% immediately, 10% annually to keep Ekwa in her current school, and 100% at maturity for her chosen university. This means that Prudential Life has guaranteed Ekwa's education regardless of life's uncertainties. The Pro Wealth Plan also covers a spouse or partner up to the same sum assured. With over 26 million customers, 24,000 employees globally, and over 170 years experience, you and your family can have peace of mind knowing that you are in safe hands. Whatever your financial goals are, the Pro Wealth Plan has the answers to life's questions. Call us today and let Prudential secure your future.
Hello there, welcome back, and it's time for sports news right here on Hstv 30. I am Precious Azuma. Now let's get into it today. The Ghana Football Association is gearing up for the maiden edition of the Under-15 Inter-Regional Challenge Cup. And in a communique from the association released yesterday, it said the cup will be officially launched on June 14th. The chief executive, as well as the committee member, Eugene Noel, yesterday chaired a meeting with members of the organizing committee at the GFA Secretariat to activate planning and fine-tuning ahead of the inaugural tournament. In a communique issued after the meeting, it said about 10 regions will be divided into 3 zones and play a round-robin format to ultimately determine the last 4 teams that will make the semi-final stage. Now, away from that story, former Black Stars captain Asamoah has expressed his concern about the critical situation of submission about Milovan Rayovac, which he was a former coach for the Black Stars during the year 2010 Africa Cup of Nations final against Egypt, describing his attitude and behavior as one of the most baffling decisions he could ever encounter. So Egypt scored the winning goal in the 85th minute, and Asamoah was subbed off in the 87th minute. However, Jan voiced his frustration during an interview he conducted recalling the pivotal moment when he was substituted off as Ghana faced Egypt in the final match. He stated, "I was pained because I predicted I would score. But when the Egyptians scored and were celebrating, I saw the number 3 on the substitution board. It is one of the weirdest substitutions I have seen in my entire career." So still on the former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan, he has also revealed what exactly happened between himself and then Stephen Appiah after the crucial penalty kick against Uruguay in the quarter-final stage of the 2010 FIFA World Cup. Asamoah Gyan missed the important kick, which would have sent Ghana to the semi-final of the World Cup for the first time after Luis Suarez handball offense. So contrary to perceptions that Captain Stephen Appiah was upset with Asamoah Gyan after taking the penalty, Gyan explained that Appiah was rather motivating him, not scolding him. Now let's move on to my last story for today. And the head coach for Accra Lions, Ibrahim Tanko, he has expressed his delight on Monday after leading his team to an expressive win over Bibiani Gold Stars. So speaking in a post-match interview, the coach said picking up 3 points was very crucial for his side. According to him, the team will work hard in training to improve their goal scoring in the subsequent matches. And that'll be all on sports news right here on News in 30. I am Precious Azuma once again. There's more news coming up right here. Welcome back. That was Precious Azuma with some sports update right here on News in 30. Now, let's move on to another trending issue for today. The 120-bed capacity Setri Kumewu District Hospital in the Ashanti region is finally opened for public use after a 10-year wait. Residents are excited they can now access health care at the facility after contractors NMS Infrastructure Limited handed it over to the health authorities on Monday, April 14, 2024. Health authorities say all departments will start operations latest by ending of May ahead of the official commissioning. However, the maternity unit and administration will begin work at the new facility on Tuesday, April 15, 2024.
Tomorrow, the hospital administration, the maternity wing of the polyclinic, they are moving in to start operations. And we've given ourselves up to the end of next month so that all the units at the old polyclinic would have moved in to this place.
We've been looking forward to this for a very long time. And I'm happy that today all of us are seeing what we are seeing. This is a wonderful environment. I mean, people come here and they wonder, is it a hospital or a hotel? Well, it's a hospital, as I said. There's a fully fledged herbal medicine unit. And then we also have, you have the medical unit, pediatric unit with incubators. We have a very nice emergency with ventilatory supports. We have dental units. The list goes on and on. Wonderful equipment there. And all. You go to the wards, there are monitors there to monitor patients, and a whole lot. I mean, you go to the theater, wonderful. The maternal mortality issues has not been too different from, what pertains nationally and even in the region. And because we did not have the necessary equipment, what happens is sometimes we do refer some of the cases that we don't have the capacity to manage. But I think with this new facility, with all the equipment that it has and the personnel that are coming in, so we'll be able to manage most of the cases.
I'm full of relief, and I believe everybody, including my director, is full of relief. Why do I say so? At some point, we're even summoned to the Chief's Palace to, answer questions as to why the project was not moving on. And so for it to have come to fruition today, it's all good news for us, and we are really happy that we have this project here. The specialness of the project starts from the planning, you understand, how you package the project. So as you know, this is a fully equipped 120-bed district hospital. And that is special in itself. I mean, you come in here, all the equipment that you need for proper healthcare are here.
We hope to be involved continually in the health program here. The original idea was for her to be here for the long term.
Indeed, good news right there. Now let's move on to another story. The Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association on Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, protested over the non-payment of the allowances for the past 10 months. The protest also saw cohorts from the 2020 and 2022 demanding placements from the government. Speaking to the media, the nurses and midwives voiced their frustrations and urged the government to pay their standing allowances for the past 10 months.
These rotational nurses and midwives are national service personnel that started their service on July 3rd, 2023. As it stands, we are 9 months into our service. That's our rotation. But it's unfortunate to tell you that our monthly allowance has not been paid to us, not even a CD. And this is a frustrating issue. As it stands now, the financial strain on us is too much. We have written to the ministry on it to let them know our concerns so that they will be addressed. But it's unfortunate to say we have not received any response or any action to that effect. So today, as we are here to march to the Ministry of Health, to the Ministry of Finance, and then the Parliament of Ghana to submit our petitions to them, for them to know our grievances and respond to us with an immediate effect.
We are demanding for our financial clearance and permanent postings from Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Health. Basically, it should be Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Health in charge of our employment, but we have negotiated or dialogue with these people over the years. When we completed school from 2020, we have tried engaging them to know when exactly our employment will be given, but to no futile, to no avail. They have not come to show any concerns. Throughout the years, we started dialoguing with them, so it has come to this point where we have decided to come out to make this loud noise so that the people involved in our employment challenges can come up and listen to us and do as we are requesting them.
We as an association, what we can do to support our people is we are giving the ministry an ultimatum of 14 days to address this situation. If not, we ourselves will form something we call the International Relations Committee, where we'll expedite the exodus of nurses and midwives, because we can't risk them staying at home for all this while. The healthcare system, I always say, is something we must do. It's continuous. It's a continuous practice. So the more you do, the more perfect you become. These are people who have been home since 2020 and we are in 2024. How sure are we that even if they should put them to the ward right now, they will be effective? Because some might have forgotten the theories which they are being taught in class. So if we don't get any appropriate response from the Ministry of Health, we will want to expedite the exodus of nurses from the country so that they can go and look for greener pastures elsewhere where they will actually be appreciated.
The delay, it has caused a lot. Right now I'm having challenges with my landlord because when I moved into my place, he told me that he's giving out the place for 2 years, which I pleaded. So I told him that I'll pay the money in about 6 months' time, because I was expecting that probably by then maybe some allowances might have been paid and I would have sorted him out.
Now, International Global Front is up next. Do stay tuned. Now, on the international front, an 81-year-old Ohio man has been charged in a fatal shooting of an Uber driver he believed was working with a scammer, according to officials who said the victim was sent to the home by the same scammer. William Brooke told investigators he shot Loletta Hall, 61, outside his home on March 25th because he thought she was working with a man who called him pretending to be an officer of the local court. Lieutenant Christopher Schultz of the Clark County Sheriff's Office made the submission.
The man who lives in this building has been accused of shooting and killing an Uber driver. He's now facing a murder charge and potential other charges. According to reports, authorities state William Brooke had been receiving multiple threatening scam calls the morning of March 24th. The calls were concerning an incarcerated relative, and Brooke was told to meet the courthouse to pay a ransom of $12,000 in bail money, or they would kill him and his relative. Around the same time of the call, the lethal Hall received directions from the same person or an accomplice instructing her to go to Brooke's home to pick up a package for delivery. Dashcam video from Hall's car shows her to arrive at Brooke's home to pick up that package. According to reports in the Clark County Sheriff's Office, Brooke allegedly had a gun. The video appears to confirm that. The incident report says Brooke allegedly took Hall's phones and would let her leave, and when she tried to go, authorities say Brockton shot Hall. They started fighting, and he shot her 2 more times. Authorities received a call from Brooke saying he had shot someone on his property because they were trying to rob him. When units arrived, they found Hall with multiple gunshot wounds and Brooke was bleeding from the head. Hall was flown to Letran Hospital in Dayton where she died. Reports say while officials were on scene, Brooke's landline phone kept ringing, and when one officer picked it, the man on the other line said he was an officer, and the real officer explained what happened and asked the caller to meet, and he agreed but never showed up. Uber has released a statement saying in part, quote, "There is no other way to describe this incident than a horrific tragedy. Our hearts continue to be with Lolita's loved ones as they grieve her sudden loss. We have been in contact with law enforcement and remain committed to supporting their investigation." Uber also went to say, "Be count of the individual who ordered the Uber trip."
That was a very sad one there, but this is all we bring your way on today's updates and News in 30. But before we take a bow, a quick recap of the headlines. Former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslow, Sedina Tamaklo, has been sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labor. The National Petroleum Authority has begun implementation of the price floor for the downstream petroleum sector after outlining the amended petroleum pricing guidelines. Also, the Ashanti Kingdom is expected to display 35 pieces of looted artifacts in the coming days after they were presented to the Menchir Palace by the Victoria and Albert Museum and the British Museum. The Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association on Tuesday, April 16th, protested over the non-payment of the allowances for the past 10 months. Well, this is all for today's news update on News in 30 with me, Savara Aiden. Stay, we have more for you right here on Hstv. Don't go nowhere.